Morgan Badgers, Angry Pagan here. So, I've been trying to organise my thoughts and get some real, get a range of opinions and get all the facts and figures, as many of the facts and figures as I could get, to try and understand what's going on with these farmers and tax and stuff, right? Now, on one hand, it seems really suspicious when you've got the rich people going, oh no, we're going to be taxed. No sympathy. None. But it's not just the inheritance tax. Apparently, it's not just the inheritance tax that's that the farmers are worried about. There's this they're adding a tax on fertilizer now. That will hit every farmer, and I don't see where the support is for our farmers but apart from that, because many farmers in this country aren't the millionaires, and so, you know, on one hand, there's what as a part of me that doesn't want to have any sympathy for these cunts because they voted for Brexit and try to, keep saying, "Oh, Brexit's great, Brexit's great." It's fucking not. Stupid morons. But I think a legitimate. I was just watching the Sarah Jane Me show on Sky News, and it was that clip where you got that accountant guy. I can't remember his name. Who's debating with this guy, this bar from the NFU, and this young farmer. He was younger than me, and whilst the issue of inheritance tax was heavily tossed around, and honestly, I'm not on board with the farmers when it comes to the inheritance tax thing. But I think they do have a legitimate point about fertilizer tax. Now, as someone who wants more natural stuff, to go, I want the country to go green. And a fertilizer tax kind of was like, oh yeah, fertilizer tax. The problem with that is that's an immediate hit on the farmers themselves, and that's all farmers. The second big issue, which I think is actually kind of bigger, is what's the agricultural strategy from Labour? Because I don't know what it is. It doesn't seem to be published. I'm going to see. I continue to see if I can find it, but I haven't been able to find the agricultural strategy from Labour, which it's not great. I grew up around farming communities. Exeter is a farming city. There are plenty of farms just around where I live. 30%, as I said in another video, 30% of dairy processing happens here in Devon. It's a lot of farming. I said, on one hand, I get the inheritance tax stuff, but the farmers are saying it's not just the inheritance tax thing. They feel like they're being hit either in a pincer movement or in multiple in a pincer movement that's coming from different sides. It's not good from Labour. This is not good from Labour. And when it comes to an agricultural strategy, we do have to look at climate, you know, climate change and preparing for that with our farms. But there doesn't seem to be any big move to actually do so. Go and talk to the farmers, see, get a consensus as to around what to do. I am just. On one hand, I have my arguments for the farmers, especially when it comes to the badger cull. But I do understand farmers, especially just your average farmer. I do kind of understand their issues, and they don't tend to appreciate being told what to do by people who have never worked on a farm. Now, I've never worked on a farm per se, but I've helped out on farms. I've been around farms. I know what it's like. I don't know what to. I personally don't know what to do. Don't know what to think of what to do when it comes to agricultural policy. I think this is something that I might have to do some digging into. This wasn't an area I was expecting to do digging into, to be fair. It should have been, in hindsight. But with the farmers kicking off in Europe and in Canada and America and now here, it's a big problem. It's a massive problem. And we can't just ignore their concerns. Now, a lot of their concerns, like to do with this inheritance tax stuff, is confected by the right wing. And they're being wound up by the right wing, and they're being misinformed when it comes to inheritance tax stuff. But I think they're directly seeing it, and I think there was something else they were talking about that's not been that's affecting them, but the fertilizer and a tax on fertilizer or whatnot. It's just, given how hard it is to farm as it is, I think making it harder without at least trying to help them is just going to make things worse. I know I feel the bitterness as well towards farmers, like I do the fishermen that vote with Brexit. But we're not going to find a way forward by just continuing to argue with these people. We need to talk to them. That doesn't necessarily mean we have to argue with them. There are so many problems right now that Labour have to deal with, and all I'm hearing is Labour aren't dealing with this, Labour aren't dealing with that, why aren't they dealing with this? And it's like, well, look how many issues there actually are to deal with. I keep getting people telling me, or seeing people saying stuff where it's like, oh, they could simply do this, they could simply do that. Could they? Then why is it not implemented elsewhere? Why isn't this success being seen elsewhere? Global climate change is going to affect farming anyway. already is doing so. We need an agricultural strategy that and food strategy that helps with this, whilst keeping in mind the environment and climate change. I recognise that the farming community can be a small c conservative and plus c and capital C conservative community, but they're not entirely stupid, and it doesn't help when they get treated as such. I mean, because coming from down here, like in Devon and Cornwall, we're out of the way. It seems, despite the fact that we've had the longest back and forth between here and mainland Europe than any part of the UK, despite the fact that we're actually further away from mainland Europe. It's kind of strange. I just, I do find it, it does get insulting. You know, I like the North. I have to differentiate because for me, everywhere is the North. Everywhere north of, like Birmingham northwards, is we kind of, in a way, we deal with that down here as well. Now, our railway's better, I will say that. But in the way we get treated by Londoners and such, still we see, country bumpkins. So yeah, I let me know what you guys think. I've woken up and his argument's still going on, and as I was drinking my coffee, I was just sat watching the Sarah Jane Me show, and I'm like, okay, so this needs real thinking about. And really, no one's actually paying attention to these points. It's like the inheritance tax thing is almost gaslighting everything else. All the other problems that farmers are dealing with. Yeah, let me know what you guys think on this, because I'm not. Whilst I grew up around the farmers and stuff, I don't know a lot of these problems in detail. Like a lot of these grievances that are being brought up in detail. Again, the inheritance tax thing, I'm pretty sure they're just misinformed on that. But there's other stuff which is not being accounted for. And I think Labour are going to have to actually come up with a proper agricultural plan, agricultural slash food plan. At least in part to help deal with the uncertainty for farmers. As much as you can get it anyway, because this is an uncertain time for everyone. So yeah, again, let me know what you guys think. Like and share, if you will. And badger that sub button, please, badgers. Yeah, I'm gonna listen to a few people and try and talk to a few people that might know a bit more than me about this subject before I address it again. But I think this is something that others are missing, and this is where you know the badger coal and this inheritance tax, you're not gonna budge me on them. The farmers can go fuck themselves on those two subjects. But barring those two subjects, I think there's a lot to talk about with farmers. So, yeah, let me know what you guys think. My shirt at your backs, guys, man, and my sword at your service. Blessed be, guys. Go do it.